Welcome back to Morning After, everyone. I'm Ron Corning. It is 10:18 on this Thursday morning. And the LA Times recently reported on a wide range of allegations against two top executives at CBS News, specifically Peter Dunn and David Friend, both of whom were in charge of making hiring decisions at 28 local television stations across the country. Well, CBS has now put them on administrative leave as it conducts a third-party investigation. Here locally, the allegations, though, came as no surprise to Dallas traffic anchor Tammy Dombeck. For almost 7 years, the EEOC represented Tammy in a case of alleged age discrimination at the CBS-owned television station here in DFW, KTVT. You may know it as CBS 11. Tammy settled that case last year and for the first time talks exclusively to Morning After.
So I'm so excited to be here. I'm so glad y'all have me. And
let's start by explaining to people what the final word on this was. This was a settlement, correct?
Yes, this was a settlement. We were set to go to a jury trial, all the way to jury trial, but then COVID hit, and then we started talking mediation and settlement.
And in a settlement, the company, in this case, CBS, KTVT is the local affiliate of CBS, they don't admit to any wrongdoing.
Correct.
In the absence of that, do you still feel like it's a victory?
Oh, that's a good question, Ron. That's a really good question. I guess because there was a monetary sum that was somewhat, helpful. And there were certain things that they have to put up now at CBS, DFW, that talks about the federal laws. And they're supposed to do a training now, and they're supposed to have training for their HR. So there were other things and sanctions that were imposed upon them because they did go against the Age Discrimination Act.
And the crux of this, interestingly enough, was in black and white. They posted an ad for the job.
Yes.
You were filling in as a freelancer at the time.
Yes.
And in looking to fill it full-time, they posted the job. And it had several things in it specifically which are of interest and came into play in this case. The ideal candidate will have on-air traffic reporting experience as well as strong knowledge of local traffic in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Applicant must have at least 5 years professional broadcasting experience. You, to that point, had 15 years?
15.
Of experience.
Yes.
In Dallas-Fort Worth.
In Dallas-Fort Worth.
And when they finally made a hire, describe for me the qualifications that person brought to the table.
So going back in that, I would be in the studio, and they would bring candidates into audition while I was there, and anchors and meteorologists would just turn to me and look at me and say, "Tammy, what is going on?" And I'm like, they told me I'm a candidate. These people here at CBS have told me I'm a candidate. I'll get my audition. I will get my interview as well. But I would say like 99% of the people that they brought in were all in their 20s, and a lot of them pageant girls and NFL football cheerleaders, which there's nothing wrong with that, but they didn't meet, the qualifications of the job description.
And the first person they offered the job to, for whatever reason, decided not to take it, and the search was on yet again. And during that search, you submitted your application yet again? Again.
The news director, January 1st, and sent me a text and said, "We need to have a conversation." And at that point, we had gone through the holidays that December with me thinking that there is no way this is going to be my position. They've told me they've hired someone. So then he came back, he said, "Our first applicant has fallen through, and I would be a fool to not reconsider you to come back to the morning show in January." I said, "I'll need to think about it." I did go back. I felt like this was the opportunity. One of the morning anchors was so sweet, and the meteorologist, like, "Please come back. We know if they can see the chemistry between us and the ratings continue to go up, that this is going to be a great morning show group." So I did then go back. And then they continued to bring the applicants in to interview and audition.
And ultimately, they did offer it to somebody who had no knowledge of DFW traffic, as stated by the ad, did not have 5 years experience, as was stated among the qualifications in the ad. And was that the last straw for you?
Yes.
That you felt used?
Yes, very used.
Like you were good enough when there was no one else?
Oh, absolutely. That's a great way to put it, Ron.
What if their ad had said, looking for someone with minimal broadcasting experience, willing to learn over time the roads and the traffic in DFW? Would you have filed this suit?
I probably still would have filed the suit, yeah. Yeah, because even when I was there and the applicants were coming in, you know, I just knew. So many people would just turn to me and say, Tammy, this is blatant age discrimination. So I probably still would have, in hindsight, done it.
The legal standing may not have been as strong, have your lawyers said?
Right, it
if they
probably
hadn't
wouldn't have.
defied their own post?
You're absolutely right, Ron. You're absolutely right.
We are back now with our exclusive interview with local TV personality and longtime traffic anchor Tammy Dombeck. Last year, she settled an age discrimination suit against CBS, which runs the local CBS affiliate KTVT in Dallas-Fort Worth. The EEOC backed Dombeck. The LA Times reported allegations of discrimination, harassment, and sexist and homophobic remarks by two CBS executives who were also involved in Tammy's case. Among the evidence, email communications around the decision not to hire her full-time. Here is part 2 of my interview with Tammy.
I remember when we were trying to come to the decision, my husband and I, and he said, you know, I just don't think you should let them get away with this.
But this is cultural. This is part of our social culture, is it not?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
And
yes.
you can slap someone on the hand and you can fine them and you can give them procedures and practices and they can be more careful and how they post an ad for a job opening. That doesn't change people from the inside out or institutional discrimination.
Right, absolutely. The way some of the executives that you could see in some of these emails and the way they spoke about some of these girls and myself and other reporters is there's a lack of respect and the journalist, like I said, the journalistic integrity that is failing. And I'm not sure about other stations, but definitely what I saw throughout the emails and the different depositions within CBS at the top, specifically.
As the search was underway to fill the traffic position at CBS 11, the news director sent an email to Senior Vice President of the CBS television station group, David Friend. The subject line read, "Is this what you wanted me to find?" In that email, the news director wrote the candidate had 5 years of experience as an NFL cheerleader. Friend's response? Sign her. She met none of the other qualifications posted in the company's ad. And in pretrial depositions, president of CBS television stations Peter Dunn was questioned about why Dombeck wasn't hired. He said only, "We were looking for somebody else." This just occurs to me, do you think what's happened with you has in some way offered a new set of protections for people who work there who might have met the same fate?
Absolutely. Absolutely. There were specific on-air talent, seasoned professionals that had been there a long time that were in my depositions that there were ageist remarks specifically about that came out in my depositions. And I feel that they will be protected.
Someone looked tired and worn out.
Outdated.
Outdated.
Yes. Yes.
And those are code for?
And those are synonyms for old. And that came up in my depositions.
So what would you say to other women? So there are so many other women out there who are not in high-profile positions.
Right.
There are people who are going to be tuning into this because they know you, they like you, they want to hear what you went through. There are so many other women out there who don't have that platform. And they're dissuaded by the cost, potentially, of suing an employer.
Absolutely.
Or this notion that they will be blacklisted and not work in their respective industry again. What would you say to them?
Absolutely. I'd say stay strong. Stay very strong, and I do want to speak to that as far as the cost of things, so that you can do two different things. You can hire a private attorney, and they will normally take 40%. I never hired a private attorney or sued in private court, in civil court. I went straight to the EEOC to go by the age, to say I was discriminated against because of the Age Discrimination Act. So when the EEOC, the Equal Opportunity Employment Commission, takes on your case, all of their lawyers, because our taxes pay for them, are free to you. I didn't pay one dime to my lawyers, not one dime. So if you feel that you've been discriminated against and it has gone against a federal law and you go to the EEOC, they are really there to be your champion. They are not there to make money. They are salaried. They are there to be your champion and to deal with your case and just to help you. So I really did want to speak to that because I know a lot of people did reach out to me when my case came about and they said, I just can't afford a lawyer. And I said, well, if you feel like you've been discriminated against in any way, the The EEOC is there for you free. So much so, Ron, that I love my senior trial attorney, Joel Clark. And after everything was done, I said, we want to send you something. You know, we want to send you something. And I can't remember the cost, but he said, I'm not allowed to take any gifts. No gifts. So we sent him a very lovely letter, but he's not allowed to accept any money or
Call
any
him every
gifts from
morning
there.
with a free traffic
Right,
report.
Right.
It's smooth sailing on your way to work.
Exactly.
A lot of people, though, can't afford not to work again either.
Absolutely.
And so even if
Absolutely. Right.
legal counsel is free, they're dissuaded by this rhetoric that
Right.
we've all been faced with, and that is, you'll be seen as a troublemaker. You'll be seen
Right.
as litigious. You'll never work again. No one
Right.
will want to hire you. Do you think that's true?
Oh, I think that's absolutely the scary thing. It's very scary to think that, and that's absolutely gone through my mind. And so, you know, I'm blessed that I have my husband could support us. But you know, during the lawsuit, there were other things that I could do. You know, I created a production company and I got my real estate license. So I was still able to work, but you're right, to be back in this market 5, where I've grown up, where it's the 5th largest market in the nation, where my family is, and to think I may never work in this market again is, yeah, very scary.
Still heartbreaking?
Oh, very heartbreaking. Yes, very heartbreaking.
And yet, when all is said and done, no regrets in pursuing it.
No regrets. I feel like with my faith in that if it wasn't meant to be this way, then it would have had a different outcome or a different turnout, or they wouldn't have taken my case. But I can say, from sitting here now 7 years later, I am proud that we took a stand.
We reached out multiple times to CBS Corporate and to local affiliate KTVT for comment, but received no reply. And you heard Tammy say there, she has no regrets. She hopes her story will inform other women in the workplace, but she says that financial settlement, just over $200,000, while some consolation, does not make up for a career she loved.